Hi, everyone.
Oh, good morning. All right. Happy Easter. Happy Easter.
Yes, happy Easter.
Happy, happy. Happy Easter. Happy Easter. Right? Oh, who's there?
Uh,
Who is up there? Oh, Janice.
I like
uh,
seeing your dog, Janice.
you see my dog?
Yeah. Well, not now, but it's cute.
He's
Cute
4.
dog.
He's almost 15.
15?
15, yeah.
Wow.
He's barking at nothing right now, but
That's
you know.
happy birthday because it's birthday you, right?
Eva, where's your purple hair?
Oh, Eva.
Eva, sorry. Well, in Spanish, Eva, where's your purple hair?
I don't know. I didn't wear my wig today. I taught a class to my students yesterday, so I like to be funny.
Oh,
With
I
my
thought you had
kids.
changed your hair. Look at that. Oh.
Oh no, it's black. Black hair, regular.
Sorry, girls talk.
Look cute on you. Here.
Thanks.
Here.
You're building a village, I see.
Here's
Look,
Elf.
see, look at her dog.
Oh.
Oh, look at
So
that.
cute. And your cat too, Jersey. I like your cat.
Yeah. All right, that's really good. Ola is 22 years old.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
Yeah, she's grandma, 110 years old or something, but she's still, strong. It's
She
amazing,
does a happy buddy too, hey?
I guess. That's where,
What do you feed her? What do you feed her?
Dates?
it's really funny because, throughout the time, Angela adjusted the food. But recently, found out that she likes good dog's food. So, that's okay. But she loves the, tuna or salmon or meat, all the fresh. When something is done in the kitchen, she knows and she comes in and then, meow, meow, meow. It's just like she knows it's really something good for her.
So I have a question. How often do you eat protein?
What do you mean? What do you mean by protein?
Well,
Because,
okay, I know that. I know proteins in vegetables and
yeah,
beans.
protein can
Yeah.
be green beans.
When I
Not
when
green,
I say protein, I mean like chicken or fish or beef.
Or anything above
pork.
20 grams.
don't-
Anything above 20 grams of
I don't
protein.
need any.
You what?
I don't need any of the any. I don't need any animal products.
Okay.
I don't need cheese. I don't need milk. Don't drink milk. Nothing.
But
Do
you
you
did before, right? Before you had your exam.
Yeah, I did. I did before. I really loved hamburgers until I was 55, and I ate them every day. We were going to In and Out all the time. Now I go to In and Out, and we have the French fries.
But do you make a conscious effort to include food that are protein strong, like 20 grams of protein, like you're finding?
I don't think about that. It's like I eat so many veggies, like spinach and broccoli, and potatoes and cauliflower. So it's a lot of potatoes. You have 10% protein, so yeah, it's enough to live.
But no tofu, no seitan, no
What is-
soy. Tofu, soy,
No,
soy based.
I don't like products. I eat a lot of beans. I eat beans sometimes. I like to eat beans, like I showed in the course before, eating beans with garlic, because I try to eat garlic, more garlic, and when I eat with beans, somehow the beans coat the garlic, and the garlic is so strong, burns my mouth. But I like to crush it, and I like to eat fresh. So,
Poor Niella, poor Niella.
Does anyone ever tell you you have bad breath?
Well, Natalie, you said, Dad, you stink, you know.
It's so cute.
My husband is Spanish. I can't approach him if I eat garlic, like for 2 days. For real.
Well, you know, so garlic, I found out that the garlic is good to eat with avocado. Avocado coats it too. And avocado, beans, and, you know, sometimes I use hummus. And sometimes I like to create like tomato and avocado and then garlic on top and kind of make sandwiches like that.
Mm.
So, you know,
Do you eat canned products like canned beans
yeah,
and
sometimes like
tomatoes?
beans, like canned beans. Yeah. So I like this fava beans that the big beans, like you know, really like them. So those I eat. Sometimes, you know, I add to soups. Like I make
Yes.
veg soup, and I will add, you know, when I reheat, I will add some beans to it, something like that. But I try to eat more veggies than other things. So the nutrition comes from veggies instead of, because you don't have so much nutrition in beans and grains. You mostly have in veggies and fruits. So most stay here, and the bars are delicious. So the bars are supporting me through the day. I have all the seeds there that I need, omegas and flaxseed and the chia seeds and you know, the spices. So the bar is really great food. So I eat like sometimes like 2 or 3 bars a day. It's like my snacks.
When I came to you in 08, you gave a list of snacks at that time, and it was hemp bread and
Right.
woman's bread and men's bread.
Still there. It's
You
still,
like those?
the choice, the bread is a choice, but it's more like a sprouted bread, you know, organic bread that you can buy, and not really thinking about men's bread, you know, brands and so on. So
Yeah. What about sourdough bread?
well, it's not as good as the other breads, but if you choose it, if you like it, then you choose it. So, you know, like more important is that you control, and then you choose something that helps you to control, and not so much whether it's right or wrong. You know, the first approach, when you really want to approach the control, you choose the things that you like, and you are agreeing to control those things, like your sourdough instead of other bread, right? If you eat sourdough and you can control a piece of bread with something on top of it, and you really like it and enjoy it, then choose it.
Got it.
So, you know, it's like it's really, you have to approach the Happy Body from the perspective of, you know, being a self-master. You know, you coach yourself through it. And the Happy Body is this hard different choices that are presented to you. And then you respond to it, you embrace the hard choice that you need to do certain things, and you do, and you practice. And because of that, you get better. So link is very clear.
So do we have class? This is our last week. This is our last day of class this week, correct?
Tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow, Sunday.
Right.
Okay. And then we start another round on Monday.
So, the Happy Body is every day.
Every day.
Every day. Yeah, we don't take any breaks.
Can we have chocolate tomorrow?
Chocolate?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You
Thank you.
Happy eater, you know, so the happy eater is the one that you choose what you like to eat, right? And you control the volume of that. So, and then what is that? So it contributes to better you in the future. And that's really the happy eater. So you are able to do both. You are able to eat what you really like, and you're able to like, you know, small quantities, and you are able to think about how that contributes to better, you know, life for you in the future. It's amazing, right? That, you know, blends everything together. It's of course not an easy task to do, but when it happens, is that's the 120 pounds brain, right? What I was that you're able to actually sink into the ability to comprehend first what is good and uh, be able to create this by the choices that um, that can control the impulses. So if the impulse is to eat something too much, then you're able to control it. Or you eat something wrong or too much or in the wrong time.
Jersey, I wanted to ask, when you showed how to make the bars last time, what chocolate, do you do like baking chocolate that has no sugar?
Yeah, there's a hard, what is it? Hard chocolate, yeah. Dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate, but there's the one that's baking that has no sugar at all. Is that the one you use, or do you use like semi-sweet?
The most
dark
bare,
chocolate?
the most bare, no sugar.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, no milk and no sugar, just dark chocolate, nothing is added there. And the darker the better.
I
Right?
know, it's like,
Mm.
I like it with coconut, like dark chocolate. If you add unsweetened coconut, it's a little better.
I see. All right. Well, when you make the whole bar, so the bar becomes your product, right? And
Mhm.
it mixed with so many things. So there's that sweetness is coming from the fruit, and eventually the spices add some taste to it, and all of it, and the seeds, especially on the side, on the outside, create this crunchiness, and all of it, it gives really a great experience. I think one of the bar is a fantastic thing. So we'll be we started pursuing to make this bar commercially made bar that I came out with, the bar that actually people could buy. So it will be probably available in the, I don't know, after whatever it is. So we'll come back to it, after the coronavirus. So this we don't know when, right?
I also remember reading in your book that you don't, when someone is starting with the bars and they're not making their own, that you said it's okay to choose like I think you said like a Luna bar was okay.
It doesn't matter what the bar is. If you like any bar, just pick up the bar. If that bar helps you to stay 3 hours and survive the 3 hours, and without the hunger or without any problems, then that's good. Any food is actually good that helps you to be okay with within 3 hours with the food that is limited.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes. Volume. Volume.
Ewa, right?
Yes.
Ewa. Ewa is like in Polish.
Yeah.
You say Ewa.
Eva. Yeah.
Yeah, like that, Ewa. So the Polish language. In Polish language, you read the same way as Spanish. You read exactly, as you see. So the pronunciation is not really different than the words that you are reading.
Yeah.
It's really more difficult. So because of the pronunciation is different than the words actually appear on the page.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can you speak a little Polish for us, just to hear you for real?
Dzień dobry. Jak się czujecie dzisiaj?
I got that.
Wesołych świąt.
Can you say what do you want me to say? Probably.
Something like that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Is there anybody that didn't speak that would like to talk, because we had this introduction?
I want to know what you are honored for in Poland.
The medals that I received.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you were honored recent. You went to Poland and you like a month ago.
I received 2 medals in Poland in the last 2 years. One was a very special medal I received 2018, and that was a medal after the. Well, I have to go to talk about that. So that medal was created after the Jerzy Popiełuszko was a priest who was captured. It was a voice in Poland that people loved, and also voice of inspiration, motivation. And that he was captured by 4 policemen. He was tortured and murdered, and that was 84. And so I was, he was the priest that came to our academy to help with prayers and survive really, hard time. It was really a hard time because, this is the time when you really don't know whether you're going to be, alive tomorrow. We will be taken out and simply tortured, right? So that was possibility for everyone in Poland in 81. So then when the whole academy was attacked and the whole Poland was underground from 81 to 89, then I was underground, and then I was underground and located in that church where Jerzy Popiełuszko was in Żoliborz. So the Jerzy was really an amazing energy, which is just human being that was unconditional love walking on the planet. And then that energy I've never really seen before. So I was really blessed by knowing him, and then being even around. Because something, if you know a person like that, that really has a profound effect on your life, flips your life instantly. So my life flipped, in 81 because of him, and seeing that there are people that really love people. They are really people like that, and they love people without any reason. They just love people. So Popiełuszko was recognized by Roman Church as a saint, and in I think 2018, not so sure, around there. And then
Jerzy, please mention the film about his life. I sent you an email about this, Crimes of Cain.
Yeah, that's right. There are a lot of documentaries and movies were done, about him. Then in 2018 was a medal was created in his memory. It was given to people that fought for the same cause, and he was always about this three words: truth, love, and forgiveness. And then the saying that the badness fight with goodness, and I guess that I'm doing this in my life. I took it. That goodness is important, and it's important to fight for it. So in 2018, I went to Warsaw and received this special medal, and it's a more spiritual award than than any other one, and it's a very we went into church, the church that and he pray.
Sorry.
Well, this way, I think that, we are blessed when we meet people that they deliver this power in us that we are able to do what was impossible to imagine to do even 1 hour ago, right? And this kind of people exist, and then they are there. There was Severin Yavorsky that also came to help with the strike, and he was a very beautiful person too. I was Weigert, Professor Weigert from MIT, some kind of like MIT equivalent in Warsaw. So I was blessed to be embraced by people of goodness, and it was very special. Also, the Solidarity movement was very special. 8081. It was the movement that created the energy in the whole country. This goodness spread throughout, and people like never before talk to each other everywhere, and felt this that they were embraced by light, by goodness, by hope, and it was like that for almost 2 years in Poland. It was a very special time, and you don't have this time after or before. It's just that moment in history when people that they are fighting for the moral causes are coming into the fight, because otherwise they would never be there. So, but at the moments of turmoil where people really need them, they come. As that's the same Martin Luther King situation, that he came to in the situation that life called him, right? And he lost his life, right? So, but when life calls you like that, you have to appear. And it really doesn't matter whether you lose life or not. Life is not really important at that time. The call is more important. And at that time, when it happens, we have these people on the surface, just right there. And if we are, lucky, we can be brushed by these people.
Unfortunately, he didn't lose his life. His life was taken from him.
Right.
That's a distinction.
Yes. Some survive this and some don't. Right. So it's the price that many of us paid, so we have a better tomorrow and better life. We have this the other medal that I received. It's interesting, as I will tell you about history of Poland a little bit. So the other that I received was for it was created in 2018, I think, too, and it was for 100 years of independence of Poland and people who fought for the independence of Poland. So we are talking about 1918 and 2018. So, to help you to a little bit to comprehend the feeling of it, the weight of it, the importance of it, I had to really take you on a journey a little bit of history. So in 1600, Swedish people or Vikings are coming to Poland, and they have the idea to live in that land. So what they do, they just plunder and kill everyone and burn and then they go more south. So Polish people ran away south and they built the army because that's the only see it's like turmoil is there, but really you have to build something and you cannot complain or blame or do those things, right? The army is there and it's just simply creating Holocaust for you. So okay, you either be that or build something. So they are building the army and they're moving south and they are moving where the Virgin Mary is. So everybody escaping, they know it's a Holocaust and there's no way to live there. And they gather to the south, and there is Częstochowa, where in the church there's Virgin Mary, painting, and then a famous Virgin Mary. It's actually Black Mary. I don't know how it happened that Paul's got that painting, but it's there, and sometimes it goes around the world, and people see it. So they built the army called Husaria. Husaria is a warrior armed on a horse. That horse sometimes is armed too, and they have this long lance in front, and also the swords and things, and a very powerful, very heavy. On the top of it, it has this kind of like a wings with the feathers like American Indians have. So the belief is that they got from American Indians, that's fake, because it's exactly the same. So the warrior, looks like kind of like that. So the feathers create this witch sound, a very scary sound. So you can imagine of these tanks, on the ground when there is 30,000 of them, right? It must be really, powerful, horrifying, army. And well, and it was. So when they attacked the Swedish army, they ran them down, right? Ran over them. So and that was it. Then Paul's experience really power because of it. So it was the obstacle, right? The weakness came. They were caused, Holocaust, and then because of that, they built a very powerful army, and that army dominated, Central Europe for a long time, for about 200 years almost. So Poles were not really attacked, and they had really in the middle of the Europe, power. And when Persian army came in 1600 to take over Vienna, they asked Polish king to come and help. And the Persian army was 60,000 soldiers. They came and to take over. And it was the second attempt, the Persian army. It was the son of the father that came to take over the Vienna, didn't make it. And that's about 20 or 30 years after, another one, king is coming to take over Vienna and claim it as a Islamic, country, right, or station or headquarters. So they kind of surround. They are in front of Vienna. The Polish king is coming with this 10,000 warriors and Husaria. And then there's a situation here in the movie, because there are movies made about this, and then the situation is, that there is a mountain to the back where that Persian army is, and to the side, but that mountain is not crossable. So what happens is that's this Polish king says that we'll go through that mountain, will appear in the morning at the back and will attack. And people say that mountain is not crossable. And the Polish king says, that is why we're going to cross it. So then this Persian, king has also an advisor who says, maybe we should point some cannons against this mountain. But the king said, well, there is no way to cross this mountain. Nothing will come out of it. So he disregarded, the warning. So the army, this Husaria, is coming out in the morning, appears on the back of the Persian army, and then runs over them, and that is over, after the 60,000 of them. So Poland experiences really good life, but good life is really difficult to handle. So this is another state in the history of any entity when you get goodness and you don't know what to do with it, how to handle goodness. And then, some kind of organization that was not in the country was not working. So it came to the point that in 1795, the kings, the Polish king, sold the insignia to make a king to Russians. So that was the time when the Russia, Austria Empire, Prussia, divided the Poland into three lands and then took over them. So Poland disappeared. No Poland, right? Yeah, 1795. And then there is no Poland, there is no, culture is there on the ground somewhere, but Poland is not there. And Poland is not until 1918. So imagine, this is like 123 years, there is nothing, right? It's like no country. And that country, these people survive 5 generations to build another army. So another army is built underground, of course, and that army appears in 1918. And that army, when that army actually comes, it comes in the middle of the Second World War. You have Germany, you have France, you have England in the war, you have Russia in the war. At the same time, this Polish army comes up. This is 1918. When this Polish army is built out of, underground, that chases Russians to Moscow. When eventually Russians got the idea and they back up, that is the end of the First World War, and Poland regains independence in 1918. And it got its independence because, came out of impossible place of weakness and created incredible power. And then there is a Poland. Big Poland is 1918. And of course, the Poland is until 1939, when Germans are coming and taking over Poland and create Holocaust in Poland. And then, of course, Russians, signed the pact with Germans, and then Poland doesn't know about that, so they run east, and Russians take them over, and then they collect the whole army, but Polish army doesn't know that they actually are with Hitler. So then Russians collect all the officers, almost 30,000 of them, and they kill them in one day and put them all into mass grave cutting. And that is, another history. Yeah.
Can I just say something really different?
Yeah.
I mean, I really appreciate the story, and I really remember also for me it was very formative. All the time when we had the Monday manifestations in Eastern Germany and so on and so forth. So I just had the possibility to really witness the more recent history related to that. But I just wanted to say, because people were talking about bread all the time, and this is a really nice bread, and
Good.
it's really influenced by you. It became it became much thinner. It's a sourdough bread, and it's something I think people now have time somehow to explore bread making.
It looks good.
Yeah, it contains about 1/3 of just freshly sprouted grains that I always enter. I put them in, I prepare a huge bunch of that. I put them in portions in the freezer and take them out. I use a lot of other grains in it, a lot of spices. And I feel whenever you feel like, oh, I need bread and I like bread and I love bread, of course, like everybody. And so I think it's possible to explore, to not feel so how do you say
Rigid.
no, or not to not feel so like you have to not eat something. You can instead
Deprived.
just really adapt it to your requirements and make it something really healthy,
Yes, of
or
course.
as healthy as can. I mean, this is sprouted spelt flour that you can buy somewhere, organic. You can buy this in the US, for example. And the sourdough is really easy to make yourself. You don't have to go to any shop to buy any sourdough, and just
Awesome. All right.
maintain your little cultures and do that. So it's really it's a possibility,
Right.
and it's so satisfying. Like the soups, I think it's something else that goes in that way, maybe for me at least. I mean, everybody's different.
Of course. Thank you. Well, the adaptation is very important, and the whole Happy Body is created to create the mastery and not really create the rigid form. It's not rigid at all, right? Because it's adaptable when it comes to the way of living. But let me finish the story. So the story goes that then we have communism in Poland, 1945, where the situation is that Russians take over Poland, and then we have terrible, horrible life until '89. The whole solidarity is underground from 81 to until '89, and they come out of underground and take over the government, and that taking over the government moves everybody toward also the same thing. People are awakened, the Berlin Wall goes down, and other countries receive the same independence. And they do, because what Poland did in '89. That was the trigger and showed the road to everybody else. Time change. And since 1989, Poland create the country that is on a constant journey toward better country, and that's really hard because now we don't have the enemy outside. We have ourselves and learn with ourselves to create better life. It's kind of similar to America that we try to as people without the outside force we try to create a better country, and we do a lot of things in America. When you look into 100 years back and see how much it was done in changing laws and creating better laws for people, how to create more transparency and how to create the laws that would actually protect others and be clear about what you can do and what you shouldn't do. The things that, like with sexual harassment, it was just like accepted socially, and then it was not accepted, and we didn't accept that. So, and then we created laws about it. So the then in 2018, this is 100 years, and then the special medal was created to give people who fought for this 100 years of independence of Poland. And I went to Poland last year and received that. So that's my answer. It's like any answer that you want to give to such an important part of your life, it's woven so much with a lot of things that happen before that. So, I cannot sometimes answer a simple question simply, so, because you would not be able to integrate the feeling of it, and then the seriousness of that, and also the story behind that can help you to feel the weight of it.
But would do you have an idea, because Poland it's very similar what we hear today, and of course what I hear today is fragmented, like what we hear from Hungary, which is even worse, of course. But how did it make this weird U-turn?
Well, it's going through it's going through changes from within, like America, right? We had we have better time and worse time. It's always like we're on a swing, we have constant swing between, and then we have hard times, and then we solve them, and we have better times, and then we have hard times, and then better times. So it's I believe it's just the same thing that what happens in the world, that the world shifts, but I think that the future belongs to eventually to voice of people, and that voice of people will be a lot of more powerful soon in the world, when people got organized, and then they got message across very fast, and move. So it will be the time when people say no to certain thing, and it will be very clear that no means no. So that today people don't have that voice yet, because there's no platform, such a platform not created to have that voice. But that voice, you can see even France. In France, organized strikes and organized this the yellow jackets or something. You can see already organizations, organized systems that, and it's like unions were in America, that this organization system start really communicating, organizing itself, and have the voice. And the voice is that the voice is instant. It means that's where instant is important, that we have a certain voice, that we have iPhone and we can have voice. And it's an amazing thing. Yes, true. That iPhone is a very powerful tool. And that iPhone will deliver, or Facebook, or deliver that platform when people eventually will say certain things, like in an even voice, that will be heard, and it will not be not possible to dismiss it. And
what do you think the rapid return to fascism is attributable to? I mean, at one point it took 100 years. Now maybe it's not so long, and a lot of these countries that just in the last 100 years fought for freedom and fought for independence are drifting towards fascism again. And I'm seeing it, like you mentioned, France, etc. But definitely that's marked in Poland too.
Will also create the other side, you see, because the obstacle becomes, and once the obstacle becomes, it creates the other side that is becoming very powerful, and the other side, the voice, the people will create the voice and then will speak back, because it is not such a thing that you can create today. The same thing as in 45 and 6,
No.
7 and 8 and 9. The Russians murdered and tortured, maybe 500,000 of underground army. It's just it's impossible to do today, but they could it in Fortis. They could do that. So we don't have this possibility, and I think we'll faster create that transparency, what's happening, understand it, and also respond to it. It is not going to survive. If something is wrong, it's not going to survive today. It will be very fast taken to the surface.
Jersey, I have 2 questions.
Right.
The first is, have you written down in any of the books, did I miss what it was that you were involved in the solidarity movement, so that we can read about this later?
I didn't hear anything.
Oh, you didn't? Can you hear me now?
No, it was just slow internet, and because of that.
Okay. I want to know if you've written in any of your books how you were active in the solidarity movement, so we can read about that, because
I think that the most extensive that I written about the journey is in the books Mastering Food Choices, The Happy Body, Mastering Exercise. So there is about 60 pages of a journey, and the journey is also in the backstory of Fatalist and the Master, but
I
address.
remember reading some of it in the Fatalists and the Master.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then my second
Angela is writing a novel about that.
Yeah,
So,
it needs a novel.
so Angela is writing right now. So she is in the. I've never had really. What I would say, I've never had the strong motivation to write it. Maybe it's not my time yet. Like maybe in 5 years or 10 years, maybe I will write it. But today I am more my motivation and the inspiration and the force, the drive is to create the happy body people, like you, to help you to comprehend what is it, to accept the hard choices that come with it, and create that in your life. I think that the more I create the happy body people, the more goodness I create, and also the more power I create, because it's creating the happy body people is also creating masters and independent thinkers and independent experiencers. So you experience to be a master. You develop patience. You develop self-control. You develop virtues. You become stoic, and that is a very powerful.
So you're building an army.
Yeah, maybe.
my second question is,
It's like a grassroots army. Yeah. Underground army.
Yeah. So how do you reconcile the work you did for your country and what you say now, which is, don't worry about the world, just worry about your world and making yourself better, because it will affect your family, which will then ripple out.
But it is
Spotted.
It is all the time about goodness and the world, right? You think about Polish people in 1600, they were pushed and they were killed and murdered, and they were building the army, right? They were in the present moment. They didn't think about at that moment that is bad or not, and so on. They were building the army, right? And they were occupied in building the army and responding to something what was destroying them, right? So in a way, when you think about, what is happening today, it's something is really attacked your way of living. Something really, destroyed that goodness that we have in a way. So we have to start building something in us that is has to juxtapose that what happens. So, and that only can be built in the present moment. When in the present moment you accept your place, and then from that place you can build better you. By building better you, it means that you can come out of it better than before, right? So when I lost my house in 96, we foreclosed our house. We bought it in 89, and we lost it in 96, 7 years after. We couldn't keep the house. So we foreclosed that. And then we went and rented an apartment, and we went into this underground, into the cave, and we started doing things differently. I went first to Vermont College and studied creative writing because we needed to write our story. And there was only way to actually. So I took the loans, went to Vermont and studied, and graduated in 98. During the same time, we competed in the world championship. During the same time, we built the Olympic weightlifting team, in Gold Gym, and moved the team to UCLA and coached that team. So we did a lot of things, between 96 and 2000 when things got better. But we had this 4 years of intense rebuilding process. And, we didn't think about that. We lost the house, right? We focus on how we can get better where we are. And that is the first important factor that we really have to do, that we have to accept where we are, right? Every person, where you are or where I am, not where the world is, but where you are, because, you can build something there, If you were the part, let's say, of Poland that was attacked, you would be building the army, right? But you are not really today. You are in your house and you are there. So you have different existence and different time and different beginning of building. But you have to get into the building. You have to get into the rebuilding yourself and give yourself 5 years for rebuilding yourself. Not really, 2 months or 3 months, and have anxiety where it ends. Well, it doesn't matter. When it ends, right? So it's not important. But important is to do in the cases what, can make you better over time. Picked up certain things that you want to do, what you've never done, but now you can do it. You have time, you can start doing those things. And stop being overwhelmed by tragedy, because tragedy happens, to us without coronavirus, right? We have people today, and they have children that they are born with illnesses, and they face this, a very hard way of living, and they face it, right? And they don't complain sometimes, and they don't blame anybody, right? They live that life. So, we don't have to wait. We have people around that they gracefully go through life with, horrible situations that happen to them, right? So, the coronavirus, is of course the virus and so on wipes us out. But who will figure this out? We'll know how to deal with it. And if you are not affected, if you are in your house and you can do something to other people, then do, right? But do not really go into the news and ruin it, because you are wasting yourself, and you're wasting your capabilities actually to help another human being, right? And to help yourself. And help yourself to building yourself. This is not the time to wait. This is, always when something wants to kill us, but to destroy us, this is the time to build yourself better, stronger. next day and work on it on a daily basis, add those days little by little. And this is the movie, the Way Back, right? About this, basketball players who builds the team, and everything matters, every little things, like he talks to these players, everything adds to the outcome eventually. Everything adds, everything is important, all little things.
Well, thank you. That's why I'm taking this course, for everything you just said.
Awesome. Okay. Got it. All right. Wow, we did.
Me too.
Well, the whole thing is that this course is the course, but it will evolve and it will change, and every time it will be different. I started seeing it as like a constant therapy, or constant, working on ourselves to create the plasticity of our mind, that that it happens over time, and it's easier and easier to deal with these hard choices in a constructive way. So because the hard choice can create in us the energy that we can fall, and we can get paralyzed, and we can get frozen, and then it will become even, our life become even worse than before, because it's that time that is today, it can be a lot of worse, right?
Yeah.
Right. And it can be a lot of worse because of you, not even because of the world. How you respond to that matters. What if you start drinking, right? And if you start drinking and you have children, and then your drinking can be a problem, and you will start, beating your children. They can be taken away from you. So, and we can go on with, making it worse, right? But when the children will be taken away, that you will lose probably your family, right? And you don't have a family, then you have to go and live somewhere in an apartment alone, and you will drink more, right? And when you drink more, you probably lose the apartment. You will be outside, you will be homeless. And then very short after, you'll probably die. Okay.
But what you speak of, this is happening to people right now.
Of course.
And then they aren't even drinking.
Yeah, they're doing other things, right?
They're just losing their livelihood, and they're gone, basically. So what you're talking about here is a enemy from within, not an enemy from without.
Of course, you have to really, I think that you have to constantly, somebody said that, the happy body is like building a parachute, right? And so you land softly when the crash happens, right? So you are able to, to face the crash in a constructive way.
Yeah.
And you can always, stand, but you have to agree to what needs to be done, right? And how to live life. And then there is always a way to live out of very little and constructively, but you have to agree to that. You have to agree to live that way. When we were here, I was making $500, and we lived out of this $500 a month. And we were able to get one room, and we were able to buy food and organize this food, so we could spend $77 a month and live out of it. And we were, very, happy. And meantime, when it happened, we also applied to the welfare before, because we lost our support from Detroit, because our sponsors were there. And we came to LA. We didn't have any support. Everything what we had, it was $600. Our luggage was lost on the plane. So that was it. And we applied to welfare, and the checks were coming, and then at the same time I work and I was receiving $500. And when the checks were coming from welfare, I didn't like this idea of cashing these checks, and I was collecting them. I said, well, if we are okay, we're okay. We don't need this money. I always thought that this money is, if you don't need this money, you shouldn't have it. So so we were living out of this $500 for about 3 months, and after that collected a lot of checks from welfare for about $4,000. And we went to in Glendale to the place where the welfare was, and we gave all these checks back. And the woman said, this money is for you. And I said, yeah, but we don't need it. And she said, but it's okay. The way you live life and then the way you make money is so little, and you cannot live out of it. I said, we're okay. And then she said, but you can make this money, whatever you make, and still you can have these checks, and you can have these checks for another half a year. I said, we don't need it. We don't want it. It's a spiritual and philosophical way of thinking in the brain. Is that I don't want it because I don't need it. I can live out of it so somebody else can have it. That really is in the need.
Oh my God, Jerzy, that's amazing. You're amazing.
Right? But you have to have this, in you, the integrity, right? That has to be in you. And because that's all you got. If you lose this integrity, you lose your way of being on this planet. And I don't know why it could be that solidarity made me that way, that I was with Popiełuszko and other people blessed by this, integrity people, these beautiful people that walk on the planet. And well, if you are, then you just cannot really compromise. You just cannot compromise goodness. That's all you got, right?
Thanks for sharing.
Right. You're welcome. Well, we spend the time today on something else. But that's what is it about, really, because, when you think about, what is it that I do here, with you, is that, I'm creating a way of thinking, a way of believing, a way of living in you. And it's not going to be because we are smart. It's not going to happen. You have to create this way of believing and finding what is good, accepting that it is good, and building the energy to make it happen. To create this, a way for the hard choices. And when you come out of it, you can think anything. I read you remember was, what is this? Yes. Yeah. So this is the situation in Midway. The pilot is going to go back and bomb second carrier. He has already the problem with the lungs, right? Because he inhaled the wrong oxygen, right? And bad oxygen, and then destroyed his lungs. And he lands on the carrier after really bombing one carrier. And then he lands on the Enterprise. And his wingman, right? The one that sits behind, doesn't want to go because this one is scared, to go, because that pilot doesn't care about what will happen. He needs to do something, and he needs to go and bomb that carrier over there, that one left carrier, because they they sunk 3 of them, and there's 1 left. The wingman doesn't want to go with him. So he has a speech to him, and I wrote that speech. You will remember that moment for the rest of your life. And if you know that you came through when people were counting on you, you will be able to face anything. That's the speech. And then after that speech, the wingman put their clothes on and went to the plane. You will remember that moment for the rest of your life. And if you know that you came through when people were counting on you, you went through when people were counting on you, you will be able to face anything. So now, in the citation, when he had the Naval Cross, is written for this pilot. The citation said, his boldness, determination, and utter disregard of personal safety helped turn the tide of the war in the Pacific. What a human being, right? And in this movie, were so many people like that. The movie was a village. They showed a village of incredible people, good people in that movie. That movie is a really great village. So many good people. Wow.
I think we still have that.
Of course we are. We are this, right? And you know, we need over and over go back to this, go back to very meaningful moments that, you know, we all have, we experience or we re-experience with others, like this pilot, or the one that is scared to go, right? So we need, you know, also help, you know, to stand up and to go back. Like in the back, that basketball players, he goes through, you know, horrifying time, right? He loses his son, and his world collapses, completely collapses, loses completely the meaning. And that man goes through a horrifying time, alcoholism, and he's frozen in life, and he moves, and he is going to die, or he is going to survive. He was a great basketball player. He was a great person, was capable of a lot, and he was happy. And then time comes like that. So he coaches this team, and he gets a little bit second chance during this coaching. His goodness slowly wakes up a little bit, but not much, but a little bit. And then, even though he drinks and he is fired from being a coach, but they showed him at the end with the ball, right? And throwing this ball. And this is where I go and make soup when I get, you know, irritated, or I go to the gym, or and do my breathing and do the happy body. This is where you do those things, because this is where we come back. This is the answer to any kind of being down and stand up. You know, we are, you know, people going through through life, and we are capable of making the world a better place. We are only capable of doing the world a better place in our place, not outside. You know, it's not that we don't care about the world, that what happens in the world. We do, but we don't need to know that. What we really need to know is to do better in your place. And that's where we are responsible for what we need to do. And that doing can create better world. Not that we have empathy or, you know, compassion somewhere, you know, in the world. That is not really necessary. But what is really necessary and at stake is where you are and how you can make it better. And that is at stake here. Unless you are building, you know, a network in the world, and it is your really job. But if it's not, then you are you have to connect to what is it that makes you better, and work on that. You have to get there. It can be very little something, but that's the whole point. It can be very little. We want to be big, and we want to think about the world and you know, correct the world or see how the world is messed up and so on. But that's the entertainment for us. You have to get rid of it from your brain and start really connected to your work, your improvement, your getting better something, or helping the neighbor or the other person or the sister or brother or whoever it is, and stand up, go back, recover. That's your work. Your work is not about, you know, whining about the world that is really horrible place. No. Your work is right now, in the place where you are. And then transparent has to be there. What is it that you are doing? How you are making things better? How you spread goodness? How you create goodness? And that usually we have so little that we can do, but that little is very important. It's crucial because that little can actually make a difference. Without that little, you are left frozen in life and doing nothing. Right? All right.
And
Anybody want to say something? We were very intense today, I guess Easter.
Jersey, I have one question. It's kind of not related, but I started using an inversion table, and you said to do 5 minutes 3 times a day.
Right.
At the lowest degree, but I wanted to ask, when do we know when we can increase the degree?
Angle? Well,
yes, the angle.
You start with about 45 degrees or 30, 45, you know, and then when you feel good and you're very comfortable and you feel nothing happens there, then you increase the degree, you go down. And then gradually go degree by degree, yeah. And then if you feel good, but the next time you go another degree down. And then you don't want to go too fast because you want to feel, you know, the discomfort that comes from ankles or, you know, stretching the spine in you or hip or something. So it will start doing that. At that certain angle, the body will be challenged. But that challenge is necessary to make the body better. And you have to arrive there slowly, gradually.
Yeah. And also I wanted to thank you because I've been wanting my brother to take this course, but he's very like, no, he won't. But he started to kind of say, well, what's it about? And today he let me show him like the Happy Body sequence 1, like the first exercise. So that was really cool.
Cool. You see,
Thank you so
Uh,
much.
yeah, you're welcome. You see, it's spreading, right? The goodness is contagious, and it spreads. It's a hard choice in life to build it because it's always inconvenient. But when you really build this, it spreads, and also it's embraced. And when the goodness happens, we all feel good because it feels like, you know, we all did that. That's what the goodness is, right?
I hope that he opens up to want to come do this, but I'm glad that he even just
Yeah.
like did the breathing, and
No,
that made me very excited.
remember, no expectations. So, you know,
Yeah.
you present things, but, you know, live the life of no expectations. So you protect yourself from whether it happens, whether it doesn't happen. So you are not liable to be responsible for, you know, whatever somebody is doing. Yeah. You do your goodness, and then you detach yourself from whatever people do with it. And then you will be healthier, and then, you know, a lot of people will actually be affected by it in this way or that way. But the most important is you.
Yeah.
That you.
But I wanted to thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, it's good. You know, it's great that it happens, right? And that's how we build the, you know. And he said, what I am building?
An army.
An army.
Okay, Amy.
Yeah, quite interesting warriors then.
An underground army.
Someone said to me once, I was just didn't know, and they said, just do the next right thing.
Yes. Yeah.
So simple.
Yeah, that's it. But that right thing is a hard choice, always.
Yeah, but but the right thing is the right thing. I mean,
the right thing is a really a tough right thing. It has to be hard, because that's the right.
Yeah.
Thing. It's not an easy thing to do. So
No.
Right thing.
No.
That's why it's a hard choice.
Right.
All right, guys. So homework. Write the sentence. My energy is for the hard choices is life. And find in the happy body what irritates you the most.
What irritates?
This is where when you find in the happy what irritates you the most, you can start practicing breathing. And when you do the exercises, you can practice breathing and bring in your mind what irritates you the most in the happy body. I would like to hear that tomorrow. And you will watch the movie about the most beautiful, person that, is in movie, right? It's just like, wow, this is like quite interesting. So the movie is The Simple Life of Noah Dearborn.
Repeat, please.
The Simple Life of Noah Dearborn.
Got it.
Awesome.
Dearborn, Dearborn.
Dearborn, right?
Noah.
It's a very great example of the happy body. Living the life.
Not another war movie, is it?
What is it?
Not another war movie, right?
No, it's not a war movie. There is no really war movies. It's just like, metaphors in life, right?
Right.
Okay, because you have to take that pilot from this movie as a metaphor,
Sure.
right? As a not really a war, but because we are always in a war in a way, right? You could say that your personal life is in a constant war. So I guess you go constantly with battling, with ourselves about what is right, what is good, what is hard, what is easy. And it's a constant war there, and how we appropriate what is right and how we override, the wrong impulse, stay calm. We are at a war all the time.
That's why we don't want to be reminded. I see planes and what are they called? Submarines and carriers. I'm like, nope, done doing it.
Well,
Guys movie.
that's not a war movie. I see you tomorrow, guys.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, Jersey. Love you.
Bye, Jersey.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Thank you, Jersey.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Jersey, can I just say I did the breathing that you talked about Anila doing with your daughter. I did that with my daughter last night.
Yes, and what happened?
She fell asleep.
Great.
She fell asleep a lot easier than she normally does. Not straight away, but it did relax her.
Wow.
So it was lovely.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing this.
No, it was nice. And maybe I live in Northern Ireland, so maybe not so much building an army as a movement. We've had enough of the army here.
It's a metaphor, right? It's a move.
I know.
We just don't take it seriously too much,
No.
We're not trying to.
I'm after a movement and a village.
Well, the movement is an army too. It's just, but it's more subtle and gentler, way of
The
saying.
happy Sinn Féin. Sinn Féin.
Yeah. An army of flowers.
Right. Yes.
Thank you, Jersey. Night night.
Thank you. Bye.